Hi, welcome back to Gabe's review show. It's been about 3 years, perhaps, but I'm happy to say that I'm still alive and I'm still reading, and I still have a lot of thoughts about things in the world. Today, we're going to be talking about GHASSAN Kanafani's Men in the Sun, a collection of you could say 6.5 stories about life in Palestine. Um, Arguably, you could say six. 5 stories, 2 partial stories. One is a letter, and the other is an excerpt from another book by GHASSAN Kanafani titled Saad. I quite like this book, and to that, I think I'd give it 4 stars on the 5-star metric that we use here at Gabe's Review Show. My favorite story is perhaps If You Were a Horse. I think I like the dynamic it explores about family. In the introduction, there's a brief excerpt where GHASSAN Kanafani writes about his son or perhaps daughter. I'm actually not. I don't remember. I don't recall entirely. But his GHASSAN Kanafani's child, who is overcome with this grief when they sort of find out that they're Palestinian, because being Palestinian bears this label of something tragic. And so I quite like that in If You Were a Horse, he sort of writes about that not the exact same thing, but it's another story with the framework of a family, of like being brought into the world under an ideological system, and you could say it's sort of a belief system, like a system of ideas and ideals that shape not only your people, but inevitably shape you as a person. And so whether that be superstition or sort of like just self-opinion, the religion, or this you know the idea of martyrdom, all of those things, compared to any other culture where those things are not present, are going to shape you in a different way. And especially because the things are brought over, they're transposed upon an individual by their family. So I thought that was very fascinating about If You Were a Horse. Um, I think GHASSAN Kanafani writes with a very incredibly strong voice. I think he's an incredible writer, and I adore the book. Very short, very quick and easy read. I was reading it at work. Whenever like we were low on orders, I was standing there reading. But I did deduct 1 star, because I will say I do think it doesn't demonstrate GHASSAN Kanafani's range. First of all, I think I definitely would be interested in reading more of his nonfiction work. There's some of his work with the journal Al Hadaf that he founded. Some of his more like chronicle work, and due to this, like this is due to the fact that reading this specific collection of stories, I felt that their structure was a little redundant. Most of them have one overarching metaphor, or one overarching symbol that is sort of explained at the end. It introduces you to a symbol and a story, and then you understand, oh, like the symbol is meant to represent this, or even like the story itself is an allegory for something else, um, which is of course a very basic and functional uh, sort of like tool to use in writing. But I thought that every single story sort of followed a similar structure in that sense, and I think perhaps it's not the best demonstration of GHASSAN Kanafani's range. Um, Again, overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I think it's very much a very necessary read for anyone who's interested in sort of like the Palestinian literary voice. All right. Thank you. Bye.